electricity consumption show us this information every single year. We could be in a country inside the OECD or no OECD, but as a human being, we are increasing our electricity demand. So we need to, we need to take some strategies, not only political strategies, but personal inside the communities to reduce this, the increase of low energy demand. Maybe you don't know, maybe you doesn't know, you don't know, sorry, you don't know the Professor King Huber curve. He was a researcher, and he present like I guess at the end of 18th or 19th century this curve, and he says this is the way we are using and exploring and producing fossil fuels, but basically oil. And in this way, in the middle of the last century, it was a kind of peak. In this peak, the OPEP organization, OPP, uh, create a kind of financial crisis. And many countries decide to invest on researching on new systems and thinking on new technologies. This is the beginning of, for example, some solar cell technologies. 1916, 19, at the end of the 80s, of course, but the big development with a lot of money was in this year for the oil crisis, 1972 or 3. His projections showed that it doesn't matter in what way we are going to use and develop the oil production and in the way we are going to convert oil in energy, but this is the way we are going to see the end of this situation. So it tells us, okay, so we need to change our global energy model. That is, of course, our economic model. Good question. How? I just talked a little, a few minutes ago about efficient buildings, and the World Green Building Council are using some of the Sustainable Development Goals of the 378 to give some recommendations, some suggestions, some advices to have better buildings, green buildings, sustainable buildings, cheaper buildings that consider our sustainability. We can research a little bit about it. And another cause, let's say another important topic or issue that tell us, okay, let's think on renewables is costs. The price of technologies have been falling a lot. A solar module system that is inside this one. Personally, I bought a solar module in 2014, I guess, and it was 250 watts. It was a Jinko brand, I guess, and it cost me about 100,000, about 300 US dollars, just one solar module. Right now, you can buy 100
I ain't
or
listening to this anymore. I'm going.
okay. Is there any question? Sorry.
No, no, Professor, you can continue.
Okay. Okay. Personally, I've been volunteering with some ONGs to try to put our knowledge serving to the community in these ways. This is a small neighbor in in the city where I live, Cali, Colombia. And this is a picture, a photo of how it was before the system. Before the system, we were, let's say, installing is just a bottle of water that lives on space, but with some sure and easy technique into the roof. In this way, they will have more light than before. Um, we've been visiting some other communities in the north of Colombia. Uh, they have, in a weird way, they have a transmission electricity system, but they don't have electricity. There are many social, cultural, and technical reasons to this situation. Of course, they don't have water, but pure water, but they have sun and they have wind. In other communities near the Pacific coast, where I just told you, sorry, I left this in Spanish, but we were working with other kind of communities, although they are using wood. Um, they have another renewable energy, natural resources in this small village. It is they have about they are about, I guess, 80 families without electricity, but they use a diesel plant 4 hours, just 4 hours per day. In that 4 hours, they should and they must reload their mobile phones, and they don't have a good telecommunication or internet or any kind of communication system. But in those 4 hours, they have to reload their phone system, their refries, or their fridges. They is the time to see some news on TV, etc. We've been working not only installing or designing, but working with people, talking with them, that in a methodology that we've been developing, meetings, speak with people in a short dialogue is the beginning of the entire process. We are we've been working several years on multi-criteria or multidimensional methodology. A renewable energy system, for example, in this community, it was this month, we were installing some solar home kits in this family she has, and they have a small refrigerator. This is a tropical zone, as you can see the clothing, but they only have 4 hours of electricity. So we are working with these communities, talking with them, try to identify resources, try to identify the low energy demand, and with on-grid systems as our university. We have installed in roofs, we have about 450 kilowatts peak, uh, two technologies, two molar systems technologies, and three, one, two, yeah, two kind of inverters, solar inverters. It takes us, of course, to talk about microgrids. That is, as many of you could know, a mixture of different technologies and resources. But in these microgrids for microgeneration, what we are, let's say, increasing is the efficiency of the system, the way we are controlling and demanding the energy, uh, and making that those populations, those communities, those small small village has a better electricity system for with this micro. Okay, let's go to decide or to think what do you want to do with a simulation? What do you want to find? What will be my variables, my inputs, my outputs, my results? What do I want with the results? How to start? What do I need? When should I begin? Where? And my recommendation is that you think one, two, or three of these questions. What kind of models do I need to develop a good simulation? Variables, what software and hardware do I need? If I have the algorithm, what results do I want? Between those renewable energy computational tools, the hybrid optimization tools allow us to have a very accurate system. Some of them, PV Sol, HOMER, our choice for today, Red Screen, Viper Hybrid 2, HOGA, PV System, PV System Builder, PSCAT, and MADA. Any others? Yes. We are going to show a little bit about the Red Screen developed by Canadian government. They dia- they evaluate and characterize the renewable energy, the renewable natural resources to develop renewable energy system with technologies. It is for free. You can download it for free. So that is our one of our best things. Uh, has a lot of studies. Software is, let's say, is an easy software to manage to work with it. There's another one, Dig Silent. It's more professional. I recommend it for you. Uh, it's not cheap, and you can't download it for free. It's used in many utilities because of their application and in the way it has many detail in the simulations. You can control and inside many variables and decide or see how they work into a power system. Very used this one for utilities. For village, to model renewable energy system, let's say 10 years ago, 8 years ago, there was a software called Viper, Village Power Optimization Model for Renewables, developed by NREL, the Department of Energy on USA. And this software give a map or use maps uh, where where you as a simulator or researcher or designer should locate or communities or homes or village uh, or places where you can send or deliver the electricity. Hybrid 2, also very easy with Windows, as many of us know, very easy to manage. Inside those software, as we will see in HOMER, there's a big database with technologies, ideally different brand technologies. That way we can decide or have a choice between them. I like this one too from Enrel Laboratory. I recommend it to you to download this system. You can search it on Enrel, Sam Enrel to work with it, and you can download also for free. Don't forget, as I told you before, that there are some easy steps before thinking on develop a simulation. And in those software or computational tools, the idea is that we can use many technologies. And this is very important, that financial models give us an advice of how cheap or how expensive could be the systems. In that way, we can make a good decision. But what happens if the system is on grid? I recommend, for example, PV system. You can do a demo for 15 days for on-grid systems with very easy way to manage or work with it. There is another one called Aurora with the diagrams. Sometimes we as an engineers understand in the best way. Helioscope, and I show you this example that I simulate for a company here in this city. A helioscope use the Google Maps to locate the system, to locate the building and its roof. This is in, let's say, in downtown here, and it uses the area to organize automatically the solar modules with, uh, let's say, very precise with the distances. And you can design or organize the solar PV system into these zones. Let us to decide or to choose different technologies, the wiring system and show us the way we are going to connect or suggest us the inverters. But for let's say researching maybe your thesis to final project or to master thesis or a doctorate, this is a software specialized for wind information. A very complete system software, sorry. It's a powerful tool, as it says. Is not free, that's a bad thing, but you can find very good and precise information using WASP. MATLAB, that we know is could be a platform, matrix laboratory for our power systems being simulated with very other toolboxes. And we also could think only on blocks and then convert or transmute these blocks into the model. But don't forget that in MATLAB, if we're going to make a good model of a system, we need the equations, and all these equations give us variables. And the best thing about MATLAB is that we can change and control those systems and having a very precise idea of the entire model. This is an example of a wind power turbine, wind power generator. In this case, this example is using a squirrel cage, I guess, with the full converter system. And this is the double fit induction generator. It is connected through the stator and connected to be controlled by the rotor. Okay, let's put in practice all this information. Here I'm going to stop just for a while. Okay, good. Okay, I would like to know if many of you downloaded before this lecture, downloaded the program, or are we going going to do it right now?
Yeah, it's already, some of us have downloaded in our device. So I think you can continue.
Okay, good. Thanks. So let's return to the. So I'm going to give some information through the slides. General information about the HOMER. Maybe because you don't already know that this is a very easy to manage computer model optimization program that give us the opportunity to change many of the variables, to select and choose different technologies. And of course, it depends if we download the free demo, or we buy the system, and what kind of system, what kind of software we pay or download. Uh, in this point, I thought, okay, how do they know that this is important, or we are just giving some advice about any computational tool? Well, I just make short research on Google a few minutes ago. Look at the number of results only with these keywords: renewables, off-grid, Homer optimizations. And of course, the idea in a research is that we work just few years before, but there are a lot of information. Okay, looking in Google Scholar, and I recommend you to do, if you are going to create or develop a paper, try to use the papers that are very, very visited. Well, what kind of data, what kind of information do we need, as I asked before in some slides a few minutes ago? We can work with different technologies. We can use battery banks, electric battery banks. Now is being, let's say, validated with hydrogen, but it has the module, so we can work with hydrogen. And something very special, very interesting, with different low demand profiles. This is the way we will see a schematic of the system, where we work with an AC boost bar and DC, if we are using DC sources, as battery, a wind power system, a small wind power system, PV, and our low demand will be connected to the AC demand. Let me tell you that here in Colombia, the residential system is 110 AC voltage. My computer is connected to 110. Our frequency is 60 hertz. Few countries in Latin America has the same voltage level. Another one that's 220 voltage, same frequency. There's only a short connection between Uruguay and Brazil, where they use 50 hertz. Okay, in this schematic, so we will see how it goes at the end of the system. We need the solar radiation information, and we need the load information. This could be kind of difficult, because who knows what's the load in kilowatts from 0 to 1 a.m. to 2 a.m., 3 a.m. That's very difficult, but you should try it just to divide. First, usually we take